Muhammad Rasulullah. I'd like to share with you today the most important topic and issue that our deen, all other religions and all other human endeavors do of heart. Qalb, as it is in Arabic. The word Qalb means in Arabic that which can turn, that which can return, bring about light out of darkness, life out of death. Qalaba yaqlubu. Inqilab in Arabic is revolution. So that is why we Muslims, mu'mins, need to have inner revolution, except outer evolution, that things take time. The great prophetic message and the Qur'an is 1400 years old, but you still find amongst many people it hasn't begun. So the announcement was made, essential teaching was revealed, but it takes time for a human being to emerge. You look back at human history over 100, 200,000 years, so a few thousand years is not a big deal. We have emerged from total, utter, if you like, lack of awareness to this intelligence, intellect, reflectiveness, and all of that within a very short period of time in terms of, if you like, evolution, over hundreds of millions of years. So we are now reaching a pinnacle of true discovery of the light of Allah Azza wa Jal, the essential eternal light to our human short life. So we all love life, but my life, your life, his life, her life is limited. But we seek that which is eternal, that which is beyond the limitations of space and time. So the word Qalb is the connector. We have in our deen most amazing revelations of what is this Qalb. يا أيها الذين آمنوا استجيبوا لله وللرسول إذا دعاكم لما يحييكم. So the ayah starts by qualifying all those of you who have faith and trust. Because if you don't have faith and trust, you are in darkness, you are in kufr, it's not going to work, you are locked up. So the ayah starts by qualifying those of you who profess that you have faith and you have trust, that you can wake up. One day you will discover that La ilaha illallah, and the echo of it is Muhammad Rasulullah. And therefore you too on the footpath of the light and delight. All those of you who have faith and trust, istajibu, respond to the call of Allah and His Prophet and His Messenger. When you realize that the call is that which is going to bring you to life. Lima yuhyikum. That's the key word in the whole ayah. Respond to that which is going to bring you life. Meaning, this life you are professing is a preliminary one, is a biological one, is a physiological one. There is eternal life already beyond space and time, beyond your idea and fancy that you were born one day and you will die one day. We know that. But is that all? Unacceptable. We want to have access or awakening to a life that has no beginning and no end. Istajibu, respond. This is where human beings have will. The only difference between us and all other creatures is that we have will. That will is exercised to begin with. I will do this, I will not do that, I'll maintain within my limitations. And until such time you discover you and I need to exercise will to transcend the limitations of Furqan, the limitations in this life, so that you know you already had access to it, but you didn't know it. Now that you have by will said, I want to know the ever-living Allah Azza wa Jal, the ever-living light, then the rest will become a process of awakening. Now, the opposite side of this lima yuhyikum is kufr. Denial of the eternal light, denial of Allah, denial of faith, denial of belief. كَذَلِكَ يَطْبَعُ اللَّهُ عَلَى قُلُوبِ الْكَافِرِينَ. Here is a most amazing unveiling that the hearts of those who have no faith, no trust, no expectations of higher awakening, or Their life have been stamped, have been locked up. Taba'a is to completely locked. Tabi'a is nature also. Tabi'a is a stamp, is a postage stamp. Same word. It has been fixed. It's a defined entity. So the ayah says, this is how Allah Azza wa Jal has locked the hearts of those who do not have that faith or the possibility of good news or the idea that Allah will save us, Allah will guide us. It is in truth, La ilaha illallah. No reality, no truth other than the one. Here we come to, if you take the two teachings of the Qur'an, what is this human composition? Because qalb, heart, is part of that composition. So you need to have an idea about this entire human being. You find that the composition is a spectrum. There is no fixed. You find somebody today, he's very different from when it was 3 years ago. You find somebody tomorrow is different from when he was. So what is this? Why is it people change their mind, change their idea, change their values? Composition is a spectrum. It's not a stone. It's not fixed. There is a ruh. There is a sacred light. Every heart has a soul. Every human being has a soul. We call it ruh. And the Qur'an describes the ruh as one of those unseen, unfathomable, undefinable, unrestricted entity. If you like, you can consider it as a holographic representation of Allah Azza wa Jalla. And it is in every heart. Then that ruh connects to this strange entity called qalb. There are 132 ayahs in the Qur'an with the word qalb in it. The innermost of the qalb, the inner insight, the, if you like, kernel of the qalb is called fu'ad. There are 16 ayahs on fu'ad. And the most beautiful one of those ayahs is that مَا كَذَّبَ الْفُؤَادُ مَا رَأَى. The innermost of the heart will never lie to you. Which means that the outermost, or the qalb, or this entity, or this faculty, be sick, can be well, can be locked up, can be high, can be low, can be good, can be bad. There are no less than 18 different categories that you can pick from these ayahs in the Qur'an. Inshallah, some other time we will cover those in detail. Now, generally, the Muslim scholars had divided, broadly speaking, the states of the heart into 4 states. The most important and the best is qalbun salim. The ayah in Surah Al-Shu'ara, ayah 89, says, يَوْمَ لَا يَنْفَعُ مَالٌ وَلَا بَنُونَ إِلَّا مَنْ أَتَى اللَّهَ بِقَلْبٍ سَلِيمٍ. Talking about akhirah. He's talking about next life. On that day, on that occasion, your wealth, your power, all what you did or you did not do in this world is of no use. All what you have is the condition of your heart. On that day, there is no use except the quality, the extent of salama of your heart. Now, salim is a beautiful word. It has many meanings. It's from the root word sin, lam, mim. From it also submission, Islam, well-beingness, all of these get back to the same root. From the same root word, I'll give you a few of the English meanings. To be intact, to be secure, to be sound, to be healthy, to be faultless, to be unharmed, to be unhurt, pure. It's all about the purity of your heart. The heart of a 4 or 5 year old is developing a connection between the ruh on one side and the personality or ego or lower self on the other side. That's why I said we are composed of a spectrum. One end of it is pure light, divine light, sacred light. The other end of the spectrum is the so-called I. Now the problem is that we all human beings have will. That is why the angels, when this Adamic composition came about, and physically it came about on earth, maybe 50, 100,000, 200,000 years ago, we don't know. So to speak, the descent of Adam. These angels said, but this creation has a will. We, angels, and other creatures have no will. He is going to create havoc on earth. Only look around you in the world and you understand why the angels were surprised. And then Allah Azza wa Jal said, no. عَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ. This being knows also the higher qualities of Allah. Virtues. The all generous. The all forgiving. The all knowing. All of the wonderful Asma al-Husna. So Allah says, no. This same being also in his ruh, in his self, which is in this case means the ruh, knows the qualities of the divine and he loves them. Who doesn't love to have wealth? It's Allah who is Al-Ghani. Who doesn't want to have knowledge? It is Allah who is Al-Alim. So if you like, this design of the human being was perfected by this, if you like, implanting of the divine knowledge in the ruh of Adam. So that is why those of us who are not fortunate enough to be constantly trying to live these qualities, which again Allah describes in the Qur'an as the color of Allah, Sibghat Allah, the ever generous. Those of us who live it a bit, you find they become popular. People love he who is generous. People love he who is wealthy. People love he who knows. Because we love Allah Azza wa Jal. It's in our fitrah, in our ruh. So that is why this composition has to be always borne in mind. Which part of you or I is exercising the will? Is it the lower ego? Is it the self who likes to be acknowledged, to have status? Or is it the ruh that is guiding you to take a will, to apply your will? If it is the ruh guiding you, then you are well guided. The issue of the qalb is important is because it is the faculty that links you, I, and he and she, and all of us, to the ruh. That is why the Prophet ﷺ says there are hundreds of traditions, hundreds of teachings about the qalb. 132 ayahs plus 16, hundreds of traditions that how is it that I can now improve the condition or the health of my heart. Most important one is within you, O Adam, or the son of Adam, lies a faculty. Prophetic word is madgha. Madgha is a faculty. Can also mean a organ. But in this case, because it's more subtle, it is a faculty. It is like the ability to think rationally. It is a faculty. It says, if this faculty is healthy and well, all of you is well. And if it is not, you are sick. It means this linking, this connecting factor between the so-called you and your ruh. If that is direct and open, then you have access to the nur of Allah in your heart. So you have access to the authority of Allah in you. But if it is not, then there is a cut point between you. So you follow your whims. You follow your nafs. You follow your hawa. Why not? Why not? It means there is no responsibility, no accountability, no referencing. Traditionally, our great ulama have divided this state of the heart into four. One is pure, as I said earlier. Also, we have beautiful ayahs such as وَإِنَّ مِن شِيعَتِهِ إِبْرَاهِيمَ إِذْ جَاءَ رَبَّهُ بِقَلْبٍ سَلِيمٍ. Here is Rabb, not Allah. So it says, and from his followers, from those blessed ones, is Ibrahim, Prophet Ibrahim. When he came to his master, to his lordship, to the tarbiyah, to the path of grooming and awakening, came to him with a pure heart, purified heart. So this is the pure heart. Then there is the locked up heart, closed heart. The heart of the unfortunate kafir, he who has no faith, he who has no trust, he who is not, have got the good news. What is the good news? Inna arsalnaka shahidan wa mubashiran. The bashara, bashar is also human beings, same word. The good news for us is that you have within you a sacred light. If you don't refer to it, you will be living in darkness. And the way you can refer to that light is by a purified heart. So this is the second category when the heart is locked or closed. And Allah describes it in numerous ayahs. وَنَطْبَعُ عَلَىٰ قُلُوبِهِمْ فَهُمْ لَا يَسْمَعُونَ. They can't hear. They know that there is a voice, there is a language. They understand the language. Abu Jahl understood the language of the Qur'an. But it didn't touch his heart. It didn't touch his innermost. So are many, many, many Muslims. So are many, many human beings. They say, yes, but it doesn't enter into. Why? Because the heart has been darkened, has been hardened. The biggest danger that the Qur'an describes for us is the hardened heart. Allah describes it in Surah Al-Baqarah. It says, فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ مَرَضٌ فَزَادَهُمُ اللَّهُ مَرَضًا. In their heart there is the sickness, and Allah will increase the sickness. Because you will be more and more in the darkness, and you will more and more justify it. Allah describes it elsewhere. How is it you justify it? زَيَّنَّا لَهُمْ أَعْمَالُهُمْ. Your action becomes attractive to you. Because you have to live with you. So you will justify it. Yes, why not? I'll build more, I'll do more. But what about your own mosque? No, we build more outer. Because the outer is easier. So you have money, you are chasing money, you love money, so you justify it. No, I'll build more mosque. What about your own Kaaba? Have you built your own? Have you rebuilt your own innermost? No, because that is more difficult. And since we all love status, no, I build mosque and I'll be on their committees. Or whatever. It's better than nothing. But it is not going to really give you that delight and that access to that innermost soul of yours, or ruh. So the second category, the first is pure, then locked up, which is the kafir. The ayahs also tells us, it's not only they don't hear, لا يفقهون. They do not have inner understanding. لا يعلمون. The same ayah repeats. So if your heart is closed, you will never understand. You will never have inner knowledge. You will never have higher knowledge. Incidentally, لا يفقهون, this word had become in culture over hundreds of years to mean fiqh. Fiqh has come to mean jurisprudence. But in the Quranic language, in the original language, is innermost knowledge. Time of the Prophet ﷺ, the faqih was not a master of jurisprudence having fancy dress and a big turban. It was a person who could come and tell whether the she-camel, how many months it is away from its birth, and how healthy or how well is what is inside its belly. So in other words, the faqih meant he who could read the inside. So faqih also means insight. So the third category of the states of the heart, when it is disconnected, when it is lying, when a person lies, they are the so-called hypocrites. يَقُولُونَ بِأَفْوَاهِهِمْ مَا لَيْسَ فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ. They say something, they mean something else. That is why the hypocrite or the munafiq is considered to be at the bottom of Jahannam. See, it's wonderful how the Qur'an reveals for us these stories. You see, and so they are the liars, you see, in a sense. But watch out, in the Qur'an, the munafiq is not considered as a sick in heart. It is something else. Because you have these beautiful ayahs. For example, المنافقون والذين في قلوبهم مرض. Separates them. There is the munafiqs, there is the hypocrites, and there are those who are sick in heart. There are two different categories. That is why the great scholars separated them. Then you have the people who have sickness, or confusion, or mixed up. This is the fourth major category. And you have beautiful ayahs describing it. One of which is a very deep ayah. ما جعل الله لرجل من قلبين في جوفه. Allah has not put two hearts in the breast of a human being. In other words, see what the person loves. Who are his friends? And you know who he is. You know where is his qalb is. Where is his heart is, you see. Allah says, watch out. There are no two hearts in your breast. You're chasing money, that is your qibla. You're chasing position, status, that is your qibla. Whatever you're chasing, your priority is that. Don't fool. Who are you fooling? It may be you have not reached the point of really facing yourself. Because we are very clever in denial. We have evolved from all the other chameleons, all of the other, we are the ultimate of creatures in our deception. Ultimately, you are deceiving yourself. So, another ayah which describes this state, the fourth state, تشابهت قلوبهم. Mixed up. You like to please this and you like to please that. You like to please your boss, you're fearing your wife. You're fearing your wife, you're fearing your banker. Where are you? تشابهت. So we have to laugh really at the sickness. As I said, there are no less than 18 categories of these sicknesses. Then we come to the ultimate of ultimate sickness. It is when you are distracted, when you are rebellious, when you are arrogant, when you have these doubts, which is the tashabahat, when you are mixing shirk and iman. When you have mixed, the constant confusion that he can give me, she can give me, if only he does this. There is no he. La ilaha illallah. You have mixed up shirk with iman. Iman is that there is none other than one maker. None other than one source of action, one source of all of the attributes, one source of that or essence. That is why there is one source of the arwah. Arwah are junud Allah. All of the souls, all of the arwah are Allah's agent in the breast of human beings. But it is human beings need to discover that Allah's presence there. And that is why we have to be warned about this blindness. It says, فَإِنَّهَا لَا تُعْمَى الْأَبْصَارِ وَلَكِنْ تُعْمَى الْقُلُوبُ الَّتِي فِي الصُّدُورِ. Don't consider blindness is such an important thing. Blindness is to do with the blindness of the heart, which is in the breast. It's interesting that the Qur'an's 132 ayahs of Qalb, not one of them refers to the physical heart. I think our cardiologists need to take notice. It all refers to the metaphorical heart. It doesn't deny the outer hearts. The Arabs knew that. And when also this blessed uncle of the Prophet was killed in the battle, there they came and took his heart out in order to show that we have conquered him. They knew who had a strong heart, who was a lion's heart, as later on also the Europeans and others. So they knew there is an inner heart. It was Ibn Sina who discovered the circulation, if you like, of the blood. But the more important thing was the metaphoric heart, the spiritual heart, the one which all of these ayahs try to describe how it becomes sick. When Imam Ghazali was sick, he could not speak anymore. They collected all the hukama of the day, and they came, and after 6 months of all kinds of attempts to treat him, they pronounced that he is sick at heart. Meaning, he's saying things that are not totally, fully, in every way, coming from his heart. By then, a fairly old man. They had to leave the greatest position he had in Baghdad, in the university, and go and seek this knowledge to connect truly with his innermost. And he went looking for the Sufis and others, and first 2 years in Damascus, and then later in Mecca, and then had the best time of his life, were the last 10 years, when he went back to Tus, which is outside present-day Khurasan. Then he was truly, fully connected the outer and the inner with his ruh. So the dangers and the vices that cause all these sicknesses are all the vices that we know, ranging from meanness, arrogance, anger, jealousy, envy, deceit, hate, suspicion, lack of modesty, lack of shame, lack of regrets. You name it. These are the vices that cause sicknesses. And once you begin to be aware of your main vice, and it changes as you develop, you begin to look at the virtue, such as meanness. The virtue of it is generosity. Love of lavishness, the virtue of it is modesty, doing with less, and. So you begin to groom the nafs. If you don't groom the nafs, the heart remains sick. Meaning, this ruh, this light, which has emitted to you, created the so-called you, the so-called personality that grows until you are in your mid-20s, late 20s, by early 30s. If you're not aware of your natural vices, the so-called personality, you will not be hanging on to the virtue of your ruh, to balance it. By the time when in your 40s, if you are not being guided by these virtues, and 40 years is often quoted, also as in the Qur'an of the age of prophethood, then you are not likely to wake up to the ultimate treasure, which is your ruh and your heart. In other words, you have not been purifying your heart. You've been still living with that vague notion. So the danger here, that blindness, you have got this beautiful ayah, لَهُمْ قُلُوبٌ لَا يَفْقَهُونَ بِهَا. They have hearts, but those hearts do not give them the knowledge. وَلَهُمْ أَعْيُنٌ لَا يَبْصِرُونَ بِهَا. And they have eyesight which does not give them basira, insight. وَلَهُمْ آذَانٌ لَا يَسْمَعُونَ بِهَا. You heard the sentence, like Abu Jahl, he heard the whole thing, but didn't respond. أُولَٰئِكَ, those people, كَالْأَنْعَامِ. They are like cattle. Cattle is more blessed. And the ayah continues, بَلْ هُمْ أَضَلُّ. They are more lost. These are the danger signs. These are the things we have to really. And then how do we do it then? Know your vices. Know all the vices of the lower self and know all the virtues of the higher self. Then follow the injunction again of the Qur'an. Explore. Travel. أَفَلَمْ يَسِيرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ. Haven't they traveled in the earth? فَتَكُونُ لَهُمْ قُلُوبٌ يَعْقِلُونَ بِهَا. But at the moment there is no travel. From one Hilton to another, Four Seasons. It's no use. You're not traveling in the earth is when you learn lessons. When you see where were these despots, where were these great pharaohs. Look what is there left, a bit of dust. In order. This business of travel, journeying, in order لِتَطْمَئِنَّ قُلُوبَكُمْ يُؤَلِّفَ بَيْنَ قُلُوبِكُمْ لِيُرْبِطَ بَيْنَ. There are no less than 40 different ways that these things are described to us. لِيَمْحَصَ مَا فِي قُلُوبِكُمْ. So that all of your fears, anxieties, impurities begin to leave you. It is a process of cleansing. That is why the beautiful ayahs of زَيْغ رَبَّنَا لَا تَزَغْ قُلُوبَنَا بَعْدَ إِذْ هَدَيْتَنَا. Zayg is what? لَا تَزَغْ. Because we get deflected. We get distracted. Oh Allah, don't let me to be more distracted. Yet another job. Yet another project. Yet another house. Yet another palace. Yet another car. Distraction, distraction, distraction. Then look at Allah's mercy. The ayahs of Ghufran. لا يؤخذكم الله باللغو في أيمانكم ولكن يؤخذكم بما كسبت قلوبكم. Allah will not hold you accountable for silly things you did or said. What have you earned in your heart? What does your heart really love or want? This is what you will be accounted for. كسبت. Kasib is earning. What your heart has earned. Another ayah which shows you Allah's rahmah and ghufran. وَلَيْسَ عَلَيْكُمْ جِنَاحٌ فِيمَا أَخْطَأْتُمْ. Don't worry about your mistakes. وَلَكِنْ مَا تَعَمَّدَتْ قُلُوبُكُمْ. That which your heart went for. We all make mistakes. Ask other people to excuse you, to forgive you. But what about that which your heart wants? Such as a high reputation, such as, high status amongst others. These are the dangerous signs. And then look at the hope that Allah gives us. إِنْ يَعْلَمَ اللَّهَ فِي قُلُوبِكُمْ خَيْرًا يُؤْتِكُمْ خَيْرًا مِمَّا أَخَذَ مِنْكُمْ. When Allah knows there is goodness and well-meaningness and good intention in your heart, you will be given better than that which you have lost. وَمَنْ يُؤْمِنُ بِاللَّهِ يَهْدِي قَلْبَهُ. He who has faith and trust, iman in Allah, you will be guided by your heart. مَنْ خَشِيَ الرَّحْمَنَ بِالْغَيْبِ. He who fears Allah in the unseen. وَجَاءَ بِقَلْبٍ مُنِيبٍ. And comes with a heart that is returning back, looking for the light of Allah. Inaba, tawbah, all of these mean similar things. فَإِلَهُكُمْ إِلَهٌ وَاحِدٌ فَلَهُ أَسْلِمُوا. Your Lord, your Creator, your essence is one. Him submit. Then the ayah leads by the most wonderful word in Arabic. وَبَشِّرِ الْمُخْبِتِينَ. The word that appears 3 times in the Qur'an. Give good news for the mukhbitin. Mukhbitin are those whose hearts are humble. بَشِّرِ الْمُخْبِتِينَ. Those whose heart is so abased. Abdul Qadir al-Gilani, in his vision, he said, I saw the house surrounded by gates, and the gate of piety was full of people, I couldn't get near it. And the gate of this was full of people, the gate of generosity, until I came to the gate of humbleness. There was nobody there. بَشِّرِ الْمُخْبِتِينَ. And then the most wonderful hadith Qudsi says, لَا تَسِعَنِي أَرْضِي وَلَا سَمَائِي. The heavens and earth cannot contain me. وَلَكِنْ يَسِعَنِي قَلْبَ عَبْدِيَ الْمُؤْمِنِ. But the heart of he who has trust and faith in me contains me. Watch out. Allah is there. But what else is in your heart? If there are other elseness, then that is shirk, and the nur of the one will not be in it. Again, يَوْمَ يَنْفَعُ مَالٌ. Watch out on the day that no wealth, no power, no matter what you did, will be of any use except the goodness of your heart. Here I want to share with you the few of the 16 ayahs of Fu'ad. مَا كَذَّبَ الْفُؤَادُ مَا رَأَى. Your innermost of the purified heart will not lie to you what you see. كَذَلِكَ لِنُثَبِّتَ بِهِ فُؤَادَكَ. The word is Fu'ad. And the word فَأَدَ, the verb of this innermost of the heart, فَأَدَ is to have burnt out of passion. Nothing left of it. Out of passion, it has been consumed. That is the original meaning of Fu'ad. And then the ayah in Surah An'am, most wonderful ayah, 122. أَوَمَنْ كَانَ مَيِّتًا فَأَحْيَيْنَاهُ. Consider the one who was dead and we brought him to life. وَجَعَلْنَا لَهُ نُورًا يَمْشِي بِهِ. And we brought for him a light by means of which he is guided. He travels amongst people. يَمْشِي بِهِ فِي النَّاسِ. أَمَنْ مَثَلِهِ فِي الظُّلُمَاتِ. Is he the same than he who is in the darkness? لَيْسَ بِخَارِجٌ مِنْهَا. And cannot get out of that darkness. كَذَلِكَ زُيِّنَ لِلْكَافِرِينَ مَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. That is how Allah makes it easy and decorates, attractive for the kafir, for he who is locked in the darkness of their dead heart. That which they were. That is faithlessness. People who have no faith, they have no iman, they are in that darkness. So the key is that nur. This is how I want to finish also this discourse in going to ayat an-nur. الله نور السماوات والأرض مثل نوره كمشكاة فيها مصباح. المصباح is the soul, is the ruh. المصباح في زجاجة. The زجاجة is the qalb. Glass is the heart. If it is clean, that light will shine. Show you. If it is not, it is darkness. And that is how the metaphors in the Qur'an are. The entire business of that which is solid, earthy, and that which is subtle, unseen, heavenly, alim al-ghayb, can only be understood by these metaphors. So we are also, as human beings, heavenly creatures, arwah, caught for a while in the prison of the body and the mind. And the essence of us is a ruh. And the functioning part, earthly part, is a mind, is a aql, is a personality, and is a badan, is a body. In between lies is the qalb. If the qalb has been purified and cleansed, then you have reference. You have a reference point that will never lie to you. If not, you are hither and thither, and he said so, she said so, confused. This is the, if you like, the atlas of the Qur'an. If we discover the atlas and the maps and live by them, then you know that your life will continue after your death. Otherwise, we are all the time scared and in fear and usual tragic condition of life. I pray to Allah Azza wa Jal to make us worthy of our deen. I pray to Allah Azza wa Jal to live our deen. I pray to Allah Azza wa Jal to make us journey in this life illumined by Iman and by His ever-present mercy and rahmah. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun. Wa salamun ala al-mursaleen.